Good morning, brothers and sisters in Dhamma. Before I do my sharing, I would like to pay homage to the Buddha. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Good morning, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Happy greetings and Namo Buddhaya. My topic for this morning is called the power of reflections. I've chosen this topic as we are now into Vasaman, where the monks are supposed to limit their movements outside the temple. The Vasa period from 21st July until I think 17th of October is also called the rainy season. And in ancient times, the Sangha are supposed to limit their movement during this period to minimize the damage to vegetation and also to minimize unintentional killing of small living beings if they walk in muddy and watery patch. This practice is still being carried out today, and the seniority of the Sangha members are measured by the Vasa period they have observed. This is also the time when the Sangha actually will spend time in the temple for them to practice more, to meditate, and also to reflect upon their own spiritual development. At the same time, to the Chinese, this is also the month of the 100 ghosts, the 7th lunar month, and will generally will last for 1 month. Now, it is believed that during this period of 1 month, the hell gate will be opened, and the hungry ghosts will roam around to seek merits and food offering by relatives and friends. During this period, starting from 15 August, many Chinese families will pray to their departed relative, offering various types of their favorite food on the altar table and wishing that their departed one would partake the offerings. These two occasions mark a significant event for us as lay Buddhists, as we should also take this opportunity to step back to do some reflection. During this period, some devout Buddhists actually take part in the novitiate programs, and some of them take part in the 8 precepts as well. So, what do we reflect during this period at this point of time? Question number 1 here is, have I practiced Dhamma well? Or have I improved on my Dhamma practice? For example, have I minimized my killing of living beings? Do I restrain myself from just happily stepping down insects on the floor? All right. Am I more disciplined to be back from lunch on time, rather than stealing office time, for coffee? And sometimes there are many people who do that, thinking that it's okay to just enjoy an extra 15 minutes, but that is a form of stealing. And have I reduced my time gossiping about the affairs of my family, or my neighbors especially, or my colleague, or talking negative things about my colleague? Have I made an experience not to drink any alcoholic drinks, or if I cannot stop totally, to reduce the frequent chilling out session with friends? The next question we ask ourselves, have I done good deeds? Have I done enough good deeds? Have I smiled more? Have I been more friendly to people around me? Have I been more helpful at home? Am I more patient? And what good things have I done? Have I fulfilled my aspiration? For example, I made an aspiration to join 2 meditation retreats per year. Have I fulfilled that? Did I manage to control my temper better? Did I speak more softly? Am I more kind? Have I made some donation to help the needy and also do some Dhamma sharing? What about the good things that I should stop? The bad things that I should stop? Should I sleep early so that I'm not late for work and lying to bosses for various reasons? Car breakdown, traffic jam, etc. Or bus is late. Should I have done more or should I have done less? Have I spent more time with family and less time with drinking kakis? Should I practice more virtues and less unproductive events like gambling, drinking, and even fishing? To me, these are some of the reflections that I would like to do. Now, many of us are too busy or may not be familiar with reflections. What is reflections? Well, there are many versions to it, but I would like to define reflection as giving ourselves, our mind and our brain, a pause, an opportunity to stop worrying about the past, present, and future, but to relax and to review what we have or have not done in our career, our life journey, our family, and our spiritual development through reflections of what we have done in the past, all right, and also the experiences that we've gained. It will give us an opportunity to consider what and how we should move on in the future. Actually, in short, some people say that a reflection is a way of doing what we call self-examination. And what is a good time? Anytime is a good time. Some people like to do reflection or gratitude reflections in the morning, some like to do it in the afternoon, and some like to do it at night. So in order for us to practice reflection, we must be mindful and put in the right effort. In this sharing, I would like to focus on practicing the Buddha Dhamma and our spiritual development. For me, the first thing that I would like to do for reflect here is gratitude. I think it's very, very important for us to know the importance of gratitude. We have so much to be grateful about, but a good start is to reflect on how grateful we are to be reborn as a normal, healthy human being. Many of us have taken for granted that since we are born, we've got a lot of complaints to do about our parents, about our siblings, about the world, about the colleague, and about everything else, right? But the Buddha has actually given a very good simile of a half-blind turtle coming out of an ocean every 100 years to breathe, right? And to be able to protrude to the floating yacht. A yacht is like a float, it's like it's made from wood. It's a round thing, like our float when we are learning swimming. And we are able to protrude, the turtle is able to protrude through the floating yacht in the vast ocean. As you know, the oceans are not calm, but the probability of a turtle coming out every 100 years and protrude through the yacht is very remote. And that is how remote it is to be born as a human being. So if you are a normal human being, you consider yourself very, 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 very lucky. And we must learn to be able to be grateful about it. Of course, the next one, we should also be grateful to the Buddha for the opportunity he has given us to know the Dhamma and the way to liberation from continuous of birth and death. I think without the Buddha, we don't know Dhamma. And without Dhamma, we will be continuing with our life, as a normal human being, and we will continue to be reborn over and over and over and over again. That's the first one. The second one here is that we must also not forget our teachers. It could be our school teachers, it could be our parents, our grandparents, or anyone that have actually taught us through life. Okay, we must also be grateful to them. And we, of course, must never, never forget that above all, our mother and father who has brought us into this world. Without them, we are not here today. And without their unconditional love and guidance, we will not be who we are today. In fact, they are our first love, our first teachers, our first doctors. They are also our nurse. They are our chef, they are our caregiver, they are our first provider. They are also our transporter, our financier. In fact, they are everything. We will never be able to repay their good deeds. We should never forget the things that they have done for us, and we should always be grateful to them. Some people are lucky, they have still got parents, and because they know Dhamma, they're able to, in a way, show gratefulness to their own living parents. So if your parents are still alive, please love them. You must cherish them, care for them. This is also an opportunity for you to treat them well, speak softly and kind words to them. And because their five senses may not be as sharp as before, you got to listen, to learn to be patient a little bit more. Sometimes you got to repeat yourself a few times because of their hard of hearings, right? And above all, spend time with them. I know many of us are very busy with our own life, right? With our career, our own family. But I think we must always find time to spend time with our old age parents because they may not be with us for long, right? Now, if they are no longer around, it doesn't mean that you can do nothing. We can still do meritorious and wholesome acts and dedicate merits to them. And this is the time to do it. All right, this is a time that, if for whatever reason, our parents, our late parents need our help. All right, what we can do here is we can do merits. All right, we must always remember the good things that they have done. All right, and we can do merits, good merits, by performing dana to the Sangha who are currently observing Vasa. And of course, we can also do wholesome thing by, taking time off to practice meditation and practice virtue, and then dedicate the merits to them. This one we can do. Now, the Buddha in 𝐾𝐡𝐚𝐦𝐸 Sutta, this sutta here, all right, he expounded and defined the characteristic of a grateful and ungrateful person. Here he talks about gratitude. Let's go through it. Monks, I will teach you the level of a person of no integrity and level of a person of integrity. Listen and pay close attention. I will speak. Then the Blessed One said, now what is the level of a person of no integrity? A person of no integrity is ungrateful and unthankful. Right? This ingratitude, this lack of thankfulness is advocated by rude people. It is entirely on the level of people of no integrity. Person of integrity, okay, before we go to the person of integrity. So we can see here that, somebody who is not thankful, not grateful, basically are one with no integrity. And you know that, in life, integrity of a person is very important. If he has no integrity, basically what we're saying here is that he is someone who cannot be trusted, not honest. All right, he is not thankful of kindness to by other people. All right, and basically the Buddha put it very nicely. These are basically rude people who are not appreciative of the good things that people done for them. On the contrary, a person of integrity is grateful and thankful. This gratitude, this thankfulness is advocated by civil people. It is entirely on the level of people of integrity. So you see, integrity is very, very important. All right. Why we connect integrity with gratitude? Because somebody with integrity is somebody who are able to remember the kindness of others and repay what they call that kindness. And that is basically the person of integrity. Then of course, the Buddha also continued to say there are two people who are not easy to repay. And who are they? Okay, he talks about father and mother, and then of course he went to give a more descriptive event that even if you carry one father on right shoulder, one mother on left shoulders for 100 years, you tender them, you massage them, you bath them, you rub their limbs, and then even though they defecate and urine right on your shoulder, you will not in that way pay or repay your parents. All right. And basically, even though if you give both your mother and father 7 treasures, you still cannot repay them. Why it is so? Because they care so much for you. They nourish you. They introduce you to this world. But the Buddha also mentioned that there's only 4 ways in which you can, repay them. Now, there are only 4 ways. One here is basically, he talks about settle and establish them in condition. Basically, he's saying that if you can teach them Dhamma, the right Dhamma, the fit in Dhamma, right? Second one, he talks about if you can teach them to practice virtue. Here we're talking about the 5 precepts: non-killing, non-stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, and intoxicant, right? And of course, if they are not generous, if you've got parents who are stingy, and you can reverse their mentality from stinginess to be generosity, that's also one way in which you can repay your parents. And of course, if parents are indulging, they're not conscientious, they indulge in foolish behaviors. And if you can teach them to be able to differentiate between right and wrong, and so that they can gain some wisdom, then that is also one way in which you can repay parents, right? So while it is good to practice reflections, all right, the Buddha also taught us on the importance of taking action for improvement. This is called the right effort to reach one of the 8 noble paths taught by the Buddha. All right, just reflection alone is not good enough. All right. Now he talks about applying the right effort. I've chosen this sutta. Actually, there are many suttas in which the Buddha talk about reflection. But I like to choose this sutta because it relates to the practice. All right. In this particular sutta, Satita Sutta, it talks about one's own mind. Now, here the Buddha mentioned that even if a monk is not skilled in the way of the mind of others, meaning to say, if you're not good at, reading the minds of others, you must at least be skillful in reading your own minds. And how is a monk skilled in reading his own mind? Then the Buddha likes to give simile. He gave a simile that imagine a young woman or man, form of adornment. That means say you like to admire yourself. Examine the image of your own face in a bright, clean mirror or a bowl of clear water. If she sees any dirt or blemish there, she would try to remove it. If she saw no dirt or blemish there, she would be pleased, her resolves fulfilled. How fortunate am I? How clean am I? So in the same way, the monk's self-examination is very productive in terms of skillful qualities. So again, here in this particular sutta, the Buddha advised that, as a monk and also us as lay people, self-examination is very productive, right? To review ourselves in terms of skillful quality. Do we have the skillful qualities or unskillful quality? So he asked this question, do I usually remain covetous or not? Basically, it means greed. With thoughts of ill will or not? Overcome by sloth and drowsiness or not? Lazy, basically. Restlessness or not? Uncertain or unaroused? Or go beyond uncertainty? Angry or not? With solved thoughts or unsolved thoughts? With my body aroused and unaroused? Lazy or with persistent aroused? Unconcentrated or concentrated? Then he says, we go on to share that on examination a monk knows, I usually remain covetous, with thoughts full of ill will, overcome by sloth, drowsiness, restlessness, uncertain, angry, with sore thoughts, with my body aroused, lazy, and unconcentrated. Then he should put forth extra desire, effort, diligence, endeavor, relentlessness, mindfulness, alertness, for abandoning of this very same evil, unskillful thoughts. Here he talks about the fact that first, you need to review yourself, you need to do self-examination. And if you think that you still got a lot of unskillful behaviors, then you must put forth a lot of effort. He talks about desire, effort, diligence, endeavor. These are all the good qualities of efforts that you need to put in. So he then gave a simile. Just as when a person whose turban or head was on fire would put forth extra desire, effort, diligence, endeavor, relentlessness, mindfulness, and alertness to put out the fire on his turban and head. In the same way, the monk should put extra effort to abandon those very same evil, unskillful qualities. The Buddha is very good at giving similes. And this is just trying to describe, if your head is on fire, you will definitely find all ways and means to put out the fire. In the same manner, if you still have got that unskillful qualities, you must put in the same effort, all right? However, he says also, on examination, a monk knows, I usually remain uncovetous, not greed, without thoughts of ill will, free of sloth and drowsiness, not restless, go beyond uncertainty, not angry, with unsolved thought, with my body unaroused, blah, blah, blah. Then his duty is to make an effort in maintaining those very same skillful qualities to a high level. Okay? Now, this is the case where reflection should be accompanied by right efforts to correct the wrong and make it right. Actually, in the 8 Noble Paths, the Buddha taught the right effort can be summarized as follows. One here is that if you have got good deeds, existing good qualities, you must put in the effort to maintain. This is what the Buddha mentioned. His duty is to make an effort in maintaining those very same skillful qualities. The second one here is, which is not mentioned in this sutta, but I think the Buddha mentioned the right effort besides maintaining the existing good deeds. Effort should also be put to develop potential good deeds, meaning to say that if you have not done enough, you must put effort, more effort to do something good. Right? Now, similarly, effort to discontinue bad deeds. This is where the Buddha mentioned about. If you got bad deeds, you got bad evil, bad unskillful qualities, then you must put in lots of effort. This is again here, number 3, the Buddha mentioned about effort to discontinue bad deeds. And the fourth one, of course, is effort to stop potential bad deeds. So if, even though the bad deeds may not have arisen or you may not have yet the unskillful qualities, I think one should always take effort to prevent those unskillful qualities from surfacing. This is what it means here. Now, the next item here, the Buddha talks about reflect before you act. I would like to requote again here. I like this particular sutta because this sutta actually has got a lot of lessons that we can take from our day-to-day life. In this particular sutta called Ambalatika Rahulovada Sutta, this is basically a sutta in which the Buddha advised his own son Rahula on what to do. All right. Now again here, there are many other suttas that we can reflect upon. I just like this particular sutta because it actually resonates with many things that we do in our day-to-day life. And I often use this to also reflect on myself. Now it says here, what do you think, Rahula? What is a mirror for? For reflection, sir. All right. So in the same way, Rahula, bodily action, verbal action, mental actions are to be done with repeated reflection. Okay? This is a repeated reflection, meaning to say that you must always reflect upon before you do bodily action, verbal action, and mental action. So let's just run through on the bodily action. Whenever you want to do a bodily action, you should reflect on it. These bodily actions I want to do, would it lead to self-afflictions, to the affliction of others, or to both? Would it be an unskillful bodily action with painful consequences, painful results? If on reflections, you know that it will lead to self-affliction, to the affliction of others or both. See, the Buddha was very, very specific. When you talk about bodily action, when you talk about action that you want to do, when you talk about painful results, it does not only look at yourself. Right? Now, if it cause affliction to others, it can sometimes, this action may create pleasure to you, but it cause painful consequences to others, then you should also not do it. And he also mentioned that if it cause affliction to both yourself and others, then you should also not do it. The challenge here is always the case whereby when it causes affliction to others, but it causes pleasure to you, then the Buddha also reminded us that you shouldn't do it. It's just like when you want to, as an individual, you want to take any action, take up any hobby, you must always consider that whether it will cause pain to your family. When it causes pain to your family, it may cause pleasure to you. Some people like to drink, for example. They get pleasure of getting themselves drunk, but they forget to realize that actually it causes a lot of pain to their loved ones. Seeing them, getting drunk and eventually sometimes beating their own family. Those are things that we should not do. So it will be unskillful bodily action with painful consequences, not only to yourself, but to your loved one and to both. Then any bodily actions of that sort is absolutely unfit for you to do. That means you shouldn't do it. But if on reflection, you know that it will not cause affliction, it will be a skillful bodily action with pleasure consequences, pleasure result, then any bodily action of that sort fit for you to do. This is actually, the Buddha reminded us that this is before you do it, before bodily action, you're just thinking about it, right? Then he talks about while you are doing it, while you are doing a bodily action, you should also reflect. This bodily action I'm doing, Is it leading to self-affliction, to the affliction of others, or to both? Is it unskillful bodily action with painful consequences, painful result? And if reflection, you know that is leading to self-affliction, the affliction of others, or to both, you should give it up. But if the reflection, you know that it is not, you may continue with it. It's basically while you're doing it. And of course, after you have done bodily action, you should also reflect. These bodily action I've done, did it lead to self-affliction, to the affliction of others, or to both? Was it an unskillful bodily action with painful consequences, painful result? If on reflection you know that it leads to self-affliction, to affliction of others, or to both, it was an unskillful bodily action with painful consequences, painful result, then you should confess it, reveal it, you should lay it open to the teacher and to a knowledgeable opinion in holy life. This is referring to the monk, but as a lay people, all right, you should know that if you know that whatever you've done will lead to all this affliction to yourself, others as well to both, then I think if you've got somebody whom you can confide in, you should confide in the wrongdoing, and then you should exercise restraint not to do it in future. All right. However, if on reflection you know that it did not cause or lead to affliction, it was a skillful bodily action with pleasure consequences. Things that you do brings positive result to yourself, to others, and to both. Then you should stay mentally refreshed and joyful. You should be joyful, basically, of this action, and you should continue to put in the effort to ensure that you maintain the skillful qualities. That is basically after the bodily action. Okay? So in this sutta, actually, the Buddha taught his son Rahula on important reflection. He reminded the Rahula to reflect on the body, the speech, and the mind. And of course, this sutta is also relevant to our daily practice. He taught us to reflect on the impact before, during, and after the actions. This is like asking us to be mindful at every actions, whether through body, speech, or mind. The sutta in summary taught us to be mindful, to reflect on impact before we act, speak, or even think about the action we should take. So the sutta taught us to reflect on the impact of three-step action before we act, while we are taking actions, and after the actions. All right. Now, the second part is talking about the first part is bodily action. The second part, he also talks about verbal action. And then he talks about mental action. So the last one is mental action. Okay. So you see how wise the Buddha is. I mean, basically, it is just the other way around. Before you do anything, before you even talk or even take action, you must always check your mind. All right. You must always check your mind also. Then mentally, before you even think about it, you must do a reflection and see whether it caused any affliction, even before you actually act or talk. All right. So in that way, the Buddha taught us to be mindful at every step of the way. So, for example, before I speak, I should consider the impact of the words that I'm listening. So, sometimes we say things that we regret later. So this particular sutta taught us to be very, very mindful before we speak. And actually, in the in right speech, the Buddha also mentioned that I should reflect whether the words is truthful, beneficial, and whether it's timely to say. If not, I shouldn't say it. So similarly, in bodily action, when we are driving, before we take action to turn right or left, for example, we should always be careful and remind ourselves to say whether there is a car on the left or motorcycle on the left to avoid any accident. All right. So reflection or thinking before you act also help to prevent untoward incident. In fact, many quarrel and fighting happen because people react without thinking or reflecting on the impact of their actions. So let us all learn from what the Buddha taught us. All right. So the next sutta here I would like to also share with you is Punna Kiriya Vatu Sutta. This particular discourse was taught by the Blessed One, by the Arahant, the fully enlightened one, the Supreme Buddha. This is what he says. Monk, there are three grounds for making merits. Right? Now, in this particular incident, since it is Vasa period and Hungry Ghost period, it gives us an opportunity to do lots of meritorious and wholesome actions, especially dana, sila, and meditation, and good, wholesome and meritorious actions. But why do we want to do good? Main question here is, why do we want to do good? Because as Buddhists, we believe in the law of karma. We believe that when we do good, we are rewarded with both in this life as well in the future life. If you do good deeds, you will have a good reborn. All right. If you do bad deeds, you get a bad reborn. Worst part here, if you are reborn in the four, bottom planes, whether it is hungry ghosts, animal world, petas, and things like that, right? So it's difficult to, once you're born in that stage, it's difficult to be reborn in a better plane. So while we are alive, while we are born as a human being now, the Buddha taught that we must always ensure that, we must do good deeds. And then when our state of mind is happy and full of loving kindness and compassion after we have done meritorious deeds, it's also a good time to dedicate merits to all living beings, including our departed relatives, who may need our merits for good. So for me, this is the right time, with right understanding, to dedicate merits to them. So here in this particular sutta, Punya Kiriya Vatu Sutta, the Buddha mentioned, monks, there are 3 grounds of making merits. What 3? Giving as a ground for making merits. When we talk about giving here, we talk about, of course, the general understanding people have here is dana, right? But I think dana, a lot of people think that giving robes, giving food isn't dana, but I think there's more to it than just giving food and giving material things. You can also give your smile, you can also give your effort. You don't have ability to help financially, you can give your effort, you can give your blood, you can give a smile, for example. All right. You can give what do you call it, your shoulder on, your warmness to people who needs it. All right. So giving is just not restricting to giving dana, and dana is not restricting only to giving to robes and food to the monk. There are many other ways of giving. All right. So he's talking about making merits. And the second one here is virtue. All right. I think a lot of people think that, practicing virtue is, it will not bring merits, but actually on the contrary, when you practice the 5 precepts, there are many, there are many positive qualities, the mental qualities that come from it. For example, instead of killing, you don't kill, you prevent yourself killing, you're actually spreading loving kindness. Okay, I just share with you a little bit about what I've actually personally encountered. In my house, I always see cockroaches. Occasionally, you come out from the water main hole. And one day I saw these particular cockroaches. I catch it and tell the cockroaches, I said, please, I'm giving you the first chance. Please go away. I open up my that cap that closed the manhole and threw it into the manhole. Of course, the manhole, no water, the cockroach can still survive. Not that you will die. Okay. Then I caught the cockroach the second time. I said, look, this is the second time I'm giving you a chance. Please go away. I will give you another opportunity to leave. So I just threw the cockroach into the hole again and close it up. And, mind you, wonders work. I don't know whether it's coincidence or the cockroach has found a new place. I've not seen a cockroach for more than 3 months already. So sometimes little things like that you practice. You try to restrain yourself. I could have found an easy way and just squeeze it to death. But I thought maybe, test water and see whether how the cockroach will react. So, virtue is also a ground for making merits. All right. And of course, as I said just now, killing is only one part of it. But, practicing the right speech, practicing non-stealing, and all the other merits, it will help us to make merits. And of course, meditation is also another wholesome act. It's a ground for making merits. So not only monks, but I think as a lay people, we can also spend time meditating. So this is the meaning of what the Blessed One said. So with regards to this, it was said, one should train in practicing meritorious action through generosity that will result in future happiness. One should practice giving and follow righteous living, one should practice developing loving kindness or meditation. And then he says here, by cultivating these three things, that will bring happiness, not only this lifetime, all right, but also in future life. A wise man is reborn. I think once you know and understand what the Buddha have taught us about law of karma, then you become wiser. Then you practice with right understanding. And also, of course, when you do all the what you call merits that you've done in this lifetime, you can be rest assured that you will not be reborn in the what do you call it, in troubled or unhappy world in future. All right. So this is particular sutta which to me is relevant. Just reflection alone is one thing, but practicing merit making, particularly in this at this point in time now when we are talking about Vasa as well as the Hungry Ghost period, you can practice this and dedicate merits to the people that you love. They are also benefit that you can approve in here, right? So in summary, what can we learn from the sutta taught by the Buddha? I think one here is be appreciative of what we have. Be grateful. All right. All of us are born different. Some are richer than others. Some are smarter than others. What do you call it? Some are born in a good family. Some are not born in a good family. But be appreciative of the fact that if you're born as a normal human being, if you can gain the right qualities, I'm sure that you can do merits irrespective of where you are born with. And of course, through the power reflection, we can also understand our own strengths and weaknesses. We can continue to build on the strength that we have and to eradicate the weakness and build or improve on the weaknesses that we have. Beginning with end in mind basically means to say that before we do anything, we must always think of the implication. This is what was mentioned in what they call it, Rahula Sutta. And of course, right effort is important to make sure that we make improvements. And last but not least, in this particular period of time when the monks are practicing Vasa and we are having the Hungry Ghost month, it is good to practice generosity, virtue, and meditation. So through this session, I hope you'll be able to learn something and put into practice what has been taught. Thank you very much. Over to you, Brother Terence.
Thank you very much, Brother Seng Huat, for today's sharing. Now, let's dedicate those merits that have accrued so far to all living beings, whether they're seen or unseen. Particularly if you have some departed relatives or friends who have passed away maybe a year ago. Akasata cha bummata devanaga mahiddika punyang tamanumoditva chiram rakkantu loka sasanang etta vata cha amhehi sampadang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Idame nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idame nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idame nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yavanibbana patiya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you everyone for watching. For other videos, please visit the links below. Bye-bye for now. See you again next week.